Welcome to MACSS Basics Training. This training is geared for all circuit clerk staff employed by the Family Support Division. We will cover a broad base of information which will help you in your daily work. Circuit clerks utilize a computer system known as the Missouri Automated Child Support System, also known as MACSS. I cannot overly stress the importance of your data entry work. Accuracy in entering information into MACSS is vital in all job specializations. Let me repeat that. Accuracy in MACSS is vital to child support and is a key expectation for your work. In this training, we will be discussing the different parts of diary. We will show you how to release pending documents, the diary screen, and how to create a special note from the diary screen. It's crucial to know when to share information from MACSS, such as screen prints. This information can only be shared during the administration of the 4D program, meaning screen prints can only be shared with child support staff. Please review the Department of Social Services Confidentiality and Information Security Agreement form and contact Nicole Hartley if you have any questions or need clarification. The information shared with you in this training can be located on the child support training page. Let me show you step by step how to access this information before moving forward. Starting off on our Department of Social Services homepage, I'm going to hover over Divisions and select Family Support Division. Once we're on the Family Support Division homepage, we can hover over Programs and click on Child Support. Now that we're here, over on the right side, under Quick Links, we can click on CS Training. This is the Child Support Training homepage. Once you're here, you can hover over Program Training and click on Circuit Clerk. You are now on the Circuit Clerk Training homepage. Next to Security Access, you have the Training section. And under MACSS Basics, we have Section 5, Diary. Please notice that you can utilize the Diary Protocol and the Authorized Diary Acronyms handout throughout this section of training. By clicking on the blue link, you'll be taken directly to the MACSS Quick Reference Guide, where you're going to find step-by-step instructions on how to complete the MACSS activities that we discuss in this training. MACSS keeps an online record of certain actions taken on a case. The case diary screen records the activities that MACSS has automatically taken and actions a worker has generated for that particular case. Diary also keeps track of time, frames, and due dates and generates alerts to remind you to take an action or that a time frame is here or past due. Diary also allows you to process some print requests, update activity completion information, attach a note to an activity taken in MACSS, to add a special note, or other activities to record an action that may have been taken outside of MACSS. To access Diary, you will simply type Diary on your command line, followed by the case number. Let's take a look at the screen index information for Diary located in the MACSS Quick Reference Guide. You can browse your back, and under Tools and Guides, you have MACSS Quick Reference Guide about halfway through the screen. In the third column, we have Screen Index. Once you get to Screen Index, you'll want to use your Control F method to search for the screen. And right here, we have Diary. So when looking at Diary, you see two sections to the screen. You have your header portion. In the header area, we'll show you the non-custodial parent and the custodial parent on the case, as well as different sorting features to help find specific information on the case. One point of interest to some would be the subfunction type field, right in here. Right next to it, you will see a plus sign that indicates something similar to a drop-down menu. You can prompt out, which means putting an equal sign in your field and hitting F4 and hitting enter. You can then view the different codes that will fit in that field to minimize some of the entries you see on the main screen. The list of codes can also be found in the diary screen index information. Another one to notice is the Note SW field right in here. By typing a Y into this field and pressing Enter, it'll then display all activity lines that have notes attached to them. You can then put an S in the selection field, hit F10, and you'll view that note that was left. Now let's talk about the heart of diary. This section of the screen records the actions taken on a particular case. Actions are recorded in diary in two ways. The first one is automatic. So this is whenever a case activity is initiated or completed in MACSS by MACSS himself. The second way is manually, and this is whenever a worker records an activity that occurred outside of MACSS or generates an activity or form from Diara. Starting from the left side of the screen and moving to the right when reading diary, you have your selection field. This allows you to enter an S in the field and utilize your function keys down at the bottom of the screen to choose where you go next. You'll notice that F10 lets you view the note if one is attached, as well as leaving a note. You also have F13, which will detail it for you, where you can complete a wait if there's one associated with the activity. You also have your start date field, which is the start date of the activity to show when the activity took place. You can enter a date in your start date field to show a specific time frame of events. The next section will show a short description of the activity, followed by the due date, and then the date the activity was resolved. You have your short description, your due date, and the date that it was resolved. And then all the way to the right, you see two columns. You have your N column and your S column. The N column represents notes on the activity. You will either see a Y or an N for yes or no. The S status, or the S is for the status of the action. You'll either see a C for completed or P for pending. We will review how to address the action if we encounter a P for pending actions next. So like I just said, there may be times when you see a P in the status field. So this means the activity is pending or not yet completed. So one example would be if information necessary to complete a form is not recorded in MACSS. The form will be set to pending to allow you to update MACSS with the required information. And then once MACSS has been updated, you can go to diary to release the pending form. Here's an example of what that would look like in MACSS. So on my command line, I'm going to type diary, and I'm going to hit Control. And automatically, the case ID field is highlighted, telling me that this is a case level screen because it requires the case ID before I can get any other information. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a case ID and hit Control. Over here to the right, as I mentioned before, in your N column, you'll either have a Y or an N. So no notes, no notes, no note was left. And then these two activities have notes attached to them. And in our far right column, all of these activities have been complete, but we have a P right here for pending for our D218. This is a child support form that is sent. So to release this activity, I will tab all the way down to my activity. I will select it. I'm going to hit my home key to take me back to my command line, and I'm going to type release. I'm going to hit Control, And MACSS is telling me member is required for this activity, member ID. I also have type U on the command and press enter after entering the required fields. So I have my plus sign here telling me that I can prompt out. So I'm going to equal F4. Now the 218 is a form that is usually sent to the CP or the custodial parent on the case. So I've got CUPT next to Brenda telling me that she is our custodial parent. So I'm going to select, hit control. Now I can't forget my U to make sure that I update, and I hit control. We now have a C for completed next to our 218 and a new weight that is attached. So the date that populated on this form is today's date, while the activity may have been done years ago. I want to stress that when you release a form, you must read and review it to determine if the activity is appropriate, with a note added to explain the situation. Next, let's talk about Diara. So there are two ways that you can access Diara. One is by typing Diara directly on your command line in MACSS and pressing enter. And the other is by pressing F11 from Diary. There are many activities available on a case. All of the activities that can be taken are found on Diara. So these include activities that MACSS performs automatically, as well as those that you can generate manually. It also includes forms that can be generated. One of the most common manual activities that is used from Diara is Note. This is used when a special note needs to be added to a case. Special notes can be added to Diary to record telephone calls or anything that needs to be recorded on the case that may not be associated to an activity. You may have noticed a handout, as mentioned earlier, included with your training, located on the Circuit Clerk training page. This is the Diary acronyms handout and will become useful to you when reading and adding notes. Now let's see what it looks like when we add a special note to Diary. So again, you can either hit F11 to flow to Diara, or you can simply type Diara on your command line. I myself like to take the easier way out on things, so I'm going to hit F11 and flow to Diara. I'm adding an activity or a note, so I'm going to put an A on my command line, and I'm going to tab down to my Enter Activity field right in here. And I'm going to type case note and hit control. Automatically, I see an A has already been added on my command line, so I don't need to worry about that. And I'm going to tab down to my first line, and I'm going to leave the note. This is just going to be a hypothetical note. So once I've typed my note, I've proofread it, I know what I want to say. I'm going to hit control. And down here, I get a warning message from MACSS. Please confirm request to add, yes or no. It looks good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and put a Y for yes. I'm going to hit control again, and then we get successfully added down at the bottom of our screen. I'm going to hit my home key to take me back to my command line, and I'm going to type Diary, and I'm going to hit control. We can now see the special note as an activity on Diary. So there are a few different ways to view the note. You can either select it and hit F10. You can put a Y in your note switch field and hit control. And you'll see that we have a note right here. So when you do that, again, this will only bring up activities on the case that have notes attached to them. Or you can go to your command line and you can type NOTEL and hit Control. This is going to take you to the NOTEL screen, and it's going to give you all the notes that have been left on the case, as well as a brief description of what was left in the notes. So you can see the first couple of lines of what I was saying in my notes. If you were wanting to see the note, you can select and Shift F1, and it'll take you to the note. Let's say that we have more that we want to add to the notes. I can hit F10, looking down at my keys, F10 to clear. I'm adding a note, so I want to put an A on my command line. And I'm going to tab down to my first line. I've added my note. I hit Control. I verify that, yes, this is the note that I want to leave. I put a Y, and I hit Control again. And we get the message down at the bottom, successfully added. I'm now going to F12, go back to diary or NOTEL. Diary on my command line. Now let's view the second page of the note that we just left. So I'll select the original note. I'll hit F10 to see the note. And I see this plus sign right here. This is telling me there is more behind my notes. So I'm going to F8. And here's my second note. My note behind the notes. In this training, we discussed the different elements of diary, how to create special notes from Diara, and how to release pending documents. Keep in mind, the resources offered in today's training are crucial in developing your skills in MACSS, and I highly encourage you to take the time to review them and bookmark them for future work. These instructions can also be found on the Circuit Clerk training page, specifically in the MACSS Basics section. Thanks for watching.